What have you seen out of Shedeur Sanders? Do you like his game? Do you think he is a franchise quarterback? What do you make of Shedeur, Troy?
I do. I do think he's a franchise quarterback. I love his game. I've obviously been watching him for a number of years. I know his father intimately well, and wish him the best, of course, as well. So what Shadeur's been able to do has been remarkable.
Troy Aikman said what? Shedeur Sanders doubters are definitely not going to enjoy this one. When a Hall of Famer talks, the entire NFL quiets down, and Aikman just dropped a take that's shaking the Browns fan base like a stadium blackout. This isn't a random analyst hyping up a rookie. This is Troy Aikman, three-time Super Bowl champ, respected legend, and a quarterback whose opinion actually means something, putting his stamp on a player the league completely misread before the chaos of the 2025 draft even began. When Aikman told TMZ Sports, "I do think he's a franchise quarterback. I love his game. I've obviously been watching him for a number of years. It felt like casual praise. But now, it sounds like a prophecy." Months later, when Shedeur Sanders shockingly slid all the way to the 5th round, those words aged like championship rings. Scouts who once labeled him too flashy or too confident suddenly looked lost. And the moment Joe Flacco somehow walked into Cleveland as QB1, Aikman's confidence started sounding more like truth than opinion. You can tell Aikman recognized something other people ignored, or flat out refused to acknowledge. He wasn't just judging talent, he was reading poise, leadership, and that internal fire you don't teach. Even now, with critics piling on and fans acting like every throw is a season-ending crisis, Aikman hasn't backpedaled at all. He doubled down, standing on his claim that Shedeur has that rare franchise QB DNA. The kind you're born with, not coached into. And looking back at draft night makes it even wilder. Shedeur Sanders wasn't supposed to be stuck waiting in that green room for hours. He wasn't supposed to watch 160-plus names get called before his. This was the same quarterback who was surgical at Colorado. Steady, composed, absolutely elite.
I'm excited for Shedeur and really looking forward to seeing what he might do at the NFL level. My expectation is that he's going to have a health.
A 74% completion rate, more than 14,000 passing yards, 134 touchdowns, and not a single missed start in 50 straight games. That's not regular production, that's college legend numbers. He was the face of Colorado's rebirth under his father, Deion Primetime Sanders. Together they turned Boulder into a full-blown spectacle. Lights, cameras, swagger, and wins. Yet the second draft weekend hit, the energy flipped. A pick after pick passed in silence. Teams chose Cam Ward and Jaden Daniels, guys with half the experience and nowhere near his composure, while Shedeur's name just sat there untouched. It felt unreal. When Cleveland finally called him in round 5, the celebration didn't even feel like celebration anymore. It felt like confusion mixed with shock. What should have been the biggest night of his life came off like a setup, with insiders scrambling to understand how a quarterback with his accuracy, football IQ, and leadership slid that far. Now those old Aikman words echo louder than a stadium PA system. Franchise quarterback. He said it before anyone else dared to, and now that Sanders is fighting for respect in Cleveland, that prophecy might end up flipping the whole story around. Most rookie quarterbacks get something Shedeur Sanders never received. Anonymity. That quiet bubble where you can grow, make mistakes, throw some bad balls, and learn the game without turning into a breaking news headline. Most young quarterbacks get to develop behind closed doors. But not Shedeur. His spotlight has been blinding since day one. Aikman explained it perfectly when talking to Michael Irvin on the Michael Irvin podcast. You could hear the honesty in his voice when he said, "I think the only unfortunate thing from my perspective is that he really hasn't been allowed to just go do his thing. You know, sometimes there's comfort in anonymity. Just being able to work on your craft, put in the time, and then emerge victorious." That quote hits hard because it's true. Shedeur has never been given space to grow quietly. At 23, he carries one of the most recognizable last names in sports, Sanders. That alone guarantees cameras, debates, and headlines over even the smallest mistake. Every preseason throw, every sideline moment, every press conference clip gets blown up like it's a breaking story. From Jackson State to Colorado, the spotlight followed him like a shadow he couldn't shake. When he dominated at Jackson State, critics said it was just because of his dad. When he took over Colorado, they called it hype. Every win, every loss, every throw. Dissected like a lab experiment. And through all of it, he never cracked. He kept showing up, kept throwing, kept grinding no matter who tried to break down his performance. Aikman doesn't look at that spotlight as a curse, though. He sees it as prep work for greatness. As he said, everything he does, he is a Sanders, so that's part of it. Everything he does is scrutinized. He's accustomed to that. I think he's going to have a great story. When his story is told, it's going to be really good, so I'm pulling for him. That's not empty support. That's a Hall of Famer saying the kid is built for pressure.
They're not going to give up on him too quickly. And that would probably open up a can of worms for them if they start throwing Shedeur in there, even in spot duty right now. So I'm not really feeling that or really seeing it. But I will say this. In practice, Shedeur Sanders has been making a ton of progress. He looks really good. I've been saying this over and over again. If you put Shedeur and Dylan Gabriel side by side or one after the other in a 7-on-7 red zone drill, I think...
To Aikman, the attention isn't a burden, it's polish. It's what separates temporary players from long-term stars. Those 14 0-0-0+ yards and 134 touchdowns aren't empty stats. They're proof that even under a microscope, Shedeur delivered. Proof that he isn't just surviving the noise, he's thriving in it. And Aikman clearly believes the same grit that carried him through Jackson State and Colorado will shape his NFL story too. A story built on pressure, adversity, and eventually redemption. But Cleveland isn't exactly a calm, fairy tale landing spot right now. The Browns aren't writing bedtime stories. They're fighting for wins. That's why in 2025, Kevin Stefanski officially declared Joe Flacco as QB1. The announcement sent fans into chaos. Social media exploded instantly. That so-called four-way quarterback competition turned out to be nothing but a giant smokescreen. Let's be honest. How is a 40-year-old veteran automatically getting the nod over one of the most naturally gifted young quarterbacks in this new generation? Aikman's trust in Shedeur Sanders makes the whole thing look even more questionable. If Shedeur really is the franchise leader Troy says he is, then why is Cleveland still acting scared to let him loose? Why hide the kid when his story is just beginning? Joe Flacco has been in the league for 18 seasons, has a Super Bowl MVP, and has seen every style of defense the NFL can throw at him. So yes, it almost felt inevitable he'd start the season as QB1. But when Michael Irvin directly asked Troy Aikman how he felt about that decision, the Hall of Famer didn't blink for even a second. Aikman shockingly backed Kevin Stefanski's call. He said it with that calm, seasoned confidence only legends can pull off. I personally think a lot of Kevin Stefanski, so if I'm Shedeur or I'm Dion, I like that he's there. I think he gets a chance to really get coached up well and playing behind a veteran like Flacco. He gets to watch and learn how to be a pro. That's something I didn't necessarily get, so I think that's really positive for him. Those words weren't empty praise. They came straight from experience. Aikman lived through the hardest version of a rookie year you can imagine. When he was drafted #1 by the Cowboys in 1989, there was no warm welcome, no ease-him-in plan, no safety net. He got thrown straight into the fire. A Week 1 starter who went 0-11. That is not development, that is trial by flames. He got hit, pressured, battered, and still turned himself into one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever touch a football. So when Aikman says Shedeur might actually benefit from watching before leading, it hits different. He knows exactly what happens when a young quarterback gets rushed into chaos. To him, sitting behind Joe Flacco isn't punishment, it's protection. It's a rare advantage in a league where teams throw rookies onto the field like experiments and then blame them when things explode. But this is Cleveland, and Kevin Stefanski's quarterback history hasn't exactly been steady. Sure, he's a two-time NFL Coach of the Year with a respected offensive mind, but the quarterback decisions under his watch have been unpredictable enough to keep fans on edge. Think about everything that's happened. The massive, controversial Deshaun Watson signing that shook the entire league, the carousel of passers afterward, the constant lineup shuffling that left players confused and fans frustrated. Stefanski's offensive play calling has been questioned for years, and now every quarterback decision he makes feels like it could decide his future. Even with all that noise, Aikman isn't ready to fire criticism at Stefanski. He actually believes Stefanski might be the perfect coach for Shedeur. Someone structured enough to stabilize the chaos and disciplined enough to give a young quarterback the environment he never had before. And let's keep it real. Shedeur Sanders isn't a standard rookie. He didn't come into the league with quiet expectations or low pressure. Cam Ward and Jaden Daniels got to grow behind the scenes, far away from constant attention. Shedeur never had that freedom. He's been living under the bright lights of the primetime legacy since his first college snap. Every game, every highlight, every mistake gets compared to his father, Deion Sanders, one of the most electrifying athletes ever. Shedeur isn't just playing quarterback. He's carrying a family legacy that was built on swagger, dominance, and defying the odds. That is real pressure, a level most rookies never face. Aikman sees all of that. He knows exactly what it feels like to have the entire football world watching your every move, waiting to see if you slip. That last name, Sanders, is both a crown and a target. It guarantees attention, but it also puts a spotlight on every step Shedeur Sanders takes. Every flaw looks bigger, every mistake sounds louder, every success gets questioned like it came with an asterisk. But through all of that noise, Shedeur has never folded. From his first snaps at Jackson State to those wild highlight-level showings in Boulder, he's faced pressure head-on and answered every bit of scrutiny with results that couldn't be denied. He didn't just talk confidence, he proved it every time he stepped on the field. When critics came for him, he answered with calm execution. When he got knocked down, he came back sharper than before. That's not hype. That's pedigree. And now, as the Browns enter the 2025 season with Joe Flacco holding the reins, Shedeur waits in the shadows, sitting lower on the depth chart but nowhere near forgotten. Fans aren't wondering if he'll get a chance. They're wondering when he finally steps into the spotlight. Through Troy Aikman's eyes, this quiet stretch isn't a setback. It's setup. It's not punishment, it's preparation. It's the perfect runway for something bigger than Cleveland realizes. Unlike Aikman, who got tossed into the NFL storm as a rookie and went 0-11, Shedeur actually gets room to breathe. He gets to sit back, study the game, observe everything, and stack fundamentals without being crushed by unrealistic expectations. That kind of development opportunity can define an entire career, and Aikman knows that better than anyone. He's not rushing to label Shedeur a superstar. He's calling him a young quarterback worth patience, and that's rare in a league where front offices panic after one interception. Aikman's message is simple and sharp. Let the kid grow in peace before expecting him to carry the franchise. And when you really step back and think about it, he's right. What looks like a delay is actually a strategy. Behind the scenes, Sanders is tightening every part of his game. Timing, reads, leadership, turning himself into something polished and ready to explode the moment his number is called. Aikman's verdict feels like a quiet prophecy. The people calling Shedeur a fifth-round bench option don't see what he sees. The beginnings of a franchise quarterback, a story not ending, but just starting to take shape. He's watched Shedeur walk through chaos and come out stronger every single time. From Jackson State's rise to Colorado's primetime transformation, through a painful draft slide and now into the toughest chapter of his football life, Aikman is betting on the same pattern he's already witnessed: pressure turning into power. As Aikman himself said, when his story is told, which is way down the road, it's going to be really good. So I'm pulling for him. That isn't a casual compliment. That's a stamp of belief from a legend. The NFL doesn't hand out fairy tales, it forces you to earn them through grit, doubt, and the long climb up. And if Aikman is right, Shedeur Sanders' real story hasn't even started yet. But when it does, it's going to shake the league in a major way. Troy Aikman didn't just speak about Shedeur Sanders. He predicted something the rest of the league is too nervous to admit. This wasn't a soft media take or a friendly analyst opinion. It was a Hall of Famer sending a message to every coach, every executive, and every fan still questioning Cleveland's young quarterback. When Aikman says, "I think he's going to have a great story," that isn't wishful thinking. That's foresight built from decades of watching greatness before anyone else recognized it. For Shedeur, that belief means everything. He's being judged before he's even played a full NFL snap. Every throw is analyzed, every sideline moment dissected, every rumor magnified like he's already a superstar on trial. He understands that what looks like waiting to most people is actually transformation happening in real time. And let's be honest, Cleveland's chaos isn't new at all. Quarterbacks have come and gone, each one sold as the next savior, and each one swallowed up by the pressure. But Shedeur Sanders stands different. He's not trying to copy anybody or repeat another man's story. He's carving out his own lane with calm, control, and cold-blooded confidence. His father's legacy may have handed him the spotlight, but it's his own work ethic that keeps that spotlight blazing. And that's exactly what Troy Aikman sees in him. Aikman recognizes that rare mix of discipline and defiance, the exact blend that separates good quarterbacks from the ones who shift entire eras. He lived it himself, thrown into the Dallas fire as a rookie, taking hit after hit until he learned how to master the storm. He sees that same grit in Shedeur, except this time the kid isn't being thrown to the wolves. He's being forced to wait, not because he isn't ready, but because Cleveland's leadership still hasn't figured out how to handle a quarterback with real talent. Joe Flacco may be QB1 right now, but even the most loyal fans know the clock is ticking. One rough stretch, one shaky outing, and the whole city will start turning its attention toward the rookie with the number 14 jersey. And when that moment arrives, Shedeur isn't just going to step in. He's going to erupt onto the field with something to prove. He's not chasing approval, he's chasing legacy. Aikman's words hit deeper than most people realize because they signal something bigger. Some players aren't meant to blend in. They're meant to rewrite the script completely. From Jackson State to Colorado to Cleveland, every stop in Shedeur's journey has tested his patience, his strength, and his faith. And every test has made him stronger. The pressure didn't break him, it forged him. The NFL doesn't hand out redemption arcs easily, but when one finally hits, it hits like thunder. And if Troy Aikman's vision is on point, then the next storm in Cleveland won't be about dysfunction. It'll be about awakening the rise of a quarterback the league tried to overlook but absolutely cannot ignore. So keep your eyes locked right here on Sunday Stories. This is where every sideline whisper, every internal debate, and every sign of the Browns' coming shift gets uncovered first. Because when that number 14 finally steps on the field, you'll remember exactly who told you he was built for this. The prophecy is alive, and Shedeur Sanders' story is only just beginning. If this saga had you shook, just wait. The next chapter goes even harder. You already know what it is. Under Center Talk brings the real, raw, unfiltered breakdowns, so don't forget to like, subscribe, drop a comment, and share this with someone who needs to catch up.